Tonight, 5 persons charged with defrauding the Manchester Municipal Corporation of over $400 million, sentenced to over 9 years in prison combined. Robbery at the Jamaica National Bank money shop in White House, Westmoreland earlier today. Still tonight, Jamaica records 2 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, taking confirmed cases to 855 with 724 recoveries, and more than 40,000 local fisheries stakeholders poised to benefit from the Promoting Community-Based Climate Resilience in the Fisheries Sector project from MICAF. Good evening. 5 persons who were facing the Manchester Parish Court on charges of defrauding the Manchester Municipal Corporation of $400 million were sentenced to a total of over 9 years in prison when they appeared in court yesterday. Sanja Elliott, former Deputy Superintendent of Works, was sentenced to 5 years on charges of conspiracy to defraud, obtaining money by false pretenses, engaging in transactions that involved criminal property, possession of criminal property, and an act of corruption. David Harris, former Secretary Manager, was sentenced to 16 months on charges of conspiracy to defraud and an act of corruption. Kendall Roberts, former Temporary Work Overseer, was sentenced to 18 months on charges of conspiracy to defraud, while their co-accused Dwayne Sibley, who is a carpenter by profession, was sentenced to 12 months on the charge of conspiracy to defraud. Tashke Goldburn Elliott, wife of Sanja Elliott, was ordered to pay a fine of $3 million or serve 6 months in prison. The 5 accused were convicted in March of this year after they allegedly plotted to defraud the Manchester Municipal Corporation of the over $400 million. In news from Westmoreland, there was a robbery at the Jamaica National Bank money shop in White House earlier today. Now, in a statement released by the bank, none of the 4 employees or members of the public who were at the location were harmed. However, an armed security guard assigned to the location by guardsmen was injured during the incident. He has since received medical treatment. JN also said that the armed men stole cash amounting to approximately $3.2 million and the security guard's firearm. They made their getaway in a stolen taxi. The location is currently closed, and the police and guardsmen are conducting investigations into the incident. In news from St. Catherine, detectives assigned to the South Police Division in the parish are continuing their probe into the circumstances surrounding the death of a woman whose burnt body was found inside a house in Bridgeport in the parish on Sunday. The deceased has been identified as 36-year-old Karen Nugent of Charles Drive. Reports are that residents saw smoke coming from her house at about 3:30 a.m. on Sunday and alerted the Portmore police. The fire department was also contacted, and after cooling down operations, Nugent's charred remains were discovered inside the house among the debris. The scene was processed and the victim's body removed to the morgue. Continuing with the news tonight, an additional person has been charged in relation to the murder of 36-year-old Tamara Geddes in Reserve District Trelawny on Friday, June 19. The accused has been identified as 55-year-old Owen Irving, a farmer of Hampton District and Salt Spring in St. James. Irving was taken into custody by the police in Westmoreland on Wednesday, July 15. In a statement to the police, Irvin allegedly admitted he collected $250,000 to hire a hitman to kill Geddes. He was subsequently charged with murder and a conspiracy to commit murder. 3 others have been charged in relation to the murder of Geddes, her older sister, 39-year-old Nadine Geddes, and her 2 daughters, one of whom is a minor. They were charged on July 15. Irving's court date is being finalized. Still making Mello TV news, a police constable and 3 other men were arrested and charged with the murder of 30-year-old Vincent Williams committed at his home on Windsor Road in Clarendon on July 7. The accused men have been identified as 26-year-old Constable Chen Downer, 33-year-old tractor operator Tafari Ross, both of Old Harbour in St. Catherine, as well as 33-year-old farmer Keflin Pennant and 43-year-old truck driver Bertram Barrell, both of Burnt Ground in Hanover. Reports from the Maypen police coming into our news center are that Williams was standing inside his yard when he was fatally shot by men traveling in a motor car, which then sped away. That same afternoon, the police intercepted a motor car with a constable and the 3 other accused on board. A search of the vehicle led to the discovery of 2 illegal firearms. The men were arrested and ballistic testing of the weapons matched the bullets removed from the scene where Williams was killed. The men were officially charged on the weekend. In other news tonight, Jamaica has recorded 2 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 855. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the newly confirmed cases consist of 2 females between the ages of 16 and 56 years. The new cases are from St. Mary and St. Anne, respectively. Meanwhile, Jamaica has recorded 10 new COVID-19 recoveries, taking the total of recovered persons to 724. Continuing with the latest news, Acting Director of Emergency Medical Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Cardell Espinosa Campbell, says the government intends to put additional safety measures in place for the operation of daycare facilities before they are allowed to fully reopen. Daycare centers were allowed to resume operations for an initial 2-week period that began on July 21 once they are in full compliance with the coronavirus COVID-19 protocols stipulated by the ministry. Dr. Espinosa Campbell outlined that while childcare operators, even before the onset of COVID-19, generally take great care to ensure that their facilities are properly sanitized, there are still some challenges that need to be addressed. She says that the measures will take into account the various stages of development of children at these facilities. Still making news tonight, more than 40,000 local fisheries stakeholders are poised to benefit from the implementation of the Promoting Community-Based Climate Resilience in the Fisheries Sector project by the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, MICAF. The U.S. $4.875 million 5-year World Bank-funded initiative aims to enhance climate-resilient practices among targeted fishing and fish farming communities across Jamaica in a bid to strengthen the sector through several engagements. The project was launched by Minister without Portfolio at MICAF, Leslie Campbell, during a ceremony held at the Treasure Beach Sports Park in St. Elizabeth on July 24. Mr. Campbell, who expressed the government's appreciation for the World Bank's ongoing support, reaffirmed the administration's commitment to providing the fishing industry with the necessary inputs to ensure its sustainability. The minister noted that over the last 2 years, the sector has contributed over US $79 million to Jamaica's gross domestic product GDP, with exports totaling more than 1 ton, adding that he anticipates great success from the project that will further enhance the industry. In news from Portland, the recently constructed East Palm Bridge was commissioned into use by Prime Minister Andrew Holness on the weekend. Prime Minister Holness remarked that preserving aging bridges while replacing deficient bridges is a significant challenge for governments, but this is a challenge that they are meeting head-on. Meanwhile, Mr. Holness also toured sections of the South Coast Highway Improvement Project, SCHIP, and got an overview of the major works being done along the thoroughfare. The government will be spending $12.91 billion during the upcoming fiscal year to begin various road works under SCHIP. Additionally, works are to begin and be completed on 5 new road construction packages along the Yalis Bridge to Port Antonio Road corridor. The project, which is being jointly funded by the Government of Jamaica and the China Exim Bank, seeks to improve the alignment and capacity of the existing Southern Coastal Main Arterial Road in order for it to be safe and efficient, free from flooding, and provide for future developments. And those were the stories making news. I'll return with a recap. We'll now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.